an apartment building in Detroit, Michigan, a man was ready for a night out with 3 other men that he considered to be his friends. But what the man didn't know is that these 3 people weren't his friends, but were actually the opposite of friends that were setting him up to be killed. The 3 men plotted with another man who was paid to do the shooting that once the elevator came down to the lobby that he would run up and make it look like a random attack. And once the elevator hit the lobby, the gunman ran up and 2 of the men ran, and one of the men pushed the victim back into the elevator so that he couldn't escape. And this unfortunately would seal his fate. The victim drew a weapon of his own but was struck first in the chest, and still not aware that he had been set up, he begged the other man in the elevator to call 911, but his pleas were ignored. By the time he received medical attention, it was already too late. Police became suspicious that his so-called friends waited nearly 10 minutes to call for help and brought the men in for questioning. And this is where one of the men felt so guilty that he revealed to police that they had set him up. In this camera footage captured inside of a university, it shows the moment when a doctor stepped into the elevator as normal, but before he could fully get inside, it began to move upwards, locking half of his body outside as the elevator ascended. The man, who was in unimaginable pain, was able to muster up the strength to call for help, but by the time he was freed, he had already passed away from loss of blood and asphyxiation. In Brooklyn, New York, a teen was leaving his grandmother's apartment and heading to the store to buy a few items for her. But this teen had the unfortunate luck of crossing paths with a man identified as Tylock Slacky. Slacky entered the elevator and started questioning the teen about where he was from and other personal information. And when the teen refused to answer his questions, he didn't take it too well. And once the elevator doors opened, Slacky pulled a gun and shot the teen several times in the back before calmly walking off. A resident heard the shots and found the teen on the floor and called 911, but when they arrived, it was already too late. In a luxury high-rise building in New York City, a man named Sam Wadesbin suffered one of the worst deaths one can think of. When he was about to exit the elevator, it started to descend with one half of his body still inside, and the weight of the elevator pulled his whole body under, and he was crushed between the shaft wall and the elevator car. It took almost 30 minutes for firefighters to get access to him, but by this time he had already passed away. After a day of shopping with her 4-year-old son at the local shopping mall, a mother decided to take the escalator upstairs to the food court to get some food. But as she stepped off the escalator, the floor caved in and pulled her underneath the escalator. Fortunately, the woman managed to save her son, but unfortunately she wasn't able to save herself.